You know how I knew that Uganda is unserious? When I went there for this event in December, Reminisce, shout out to Reminisce, best event in Uganda. Fam, I knew they're unserious when the man who came to pick me up had a beer between his legs like that. I was just sipping while he was driving. And then when he saw the horror in my face, you thought you think the horror was because he thought he's horrified because I haven't offered him a beer. The guy's like, yo,
oh shit, sorry.
There's a beer in the back if you want it.
Oh, man.
This
I love
like, I'm serious.
The mics are blood clot open. Check.
Select accent for the podcast.
Calvin always late.
This is the mics are open. My name's G Money.
Andy Young.
Ashley.
Big C.
Episode 309, man.
Where?
I'm happy to be back.
Welcome
back, bro.
Yo, let me tell you, I watched you guys, I watched your podcast last week. Do you guys suddenly get intelligent when I leave? Like,
yes.
It was like so deep, like talking about like how.
Because you're the intelligent one here, so
like,
when you're not here.
No, it was super
intelligent.
Yeah.
It was super intelligent.
Yeah, G's the intelligent one, we're the dumb ones.
No, everybody's endowed in their own way.
Yeah.
True that.
We ain't taking that shit. You know,
That's
people
what she
take
said.
the truth over here. Or the watchers. They're like, so you're not the intelligent.
So we were sounding intelligent.
No, it was it was a riveting conversation.
It was a much more, the energy was different.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about how men don't celebrate themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I watched it and I was like, wow, it's
Interesting how Calvin opens up a lot when you're not here.
Yeah.
I find that amusing.
Open up though.
But not like that.
Not like that. It was
When
a little
G's
bit more
away, you
personal.
open up.
Hold on.
Is this nigga gonna take a call?
Oh, caretaker's calling me.
Oh, man.
James,
Your house is not on fire.
keep filming.
Sama bana.
I love it when you say, oh,
He hasn't paid water.
Hola.
You didn't pay water.
Oh, iko na nini? Puncher.
But the one
Okay,
scary
sawa.
thing
Nikutumie-
about
wacha- okay,
maybe
sawa,
a
wacha
caretaker
nitamwambia.
calling you, the one thing that comes to my mind is them.
Okay.
Nobody's
Flood.
not
Ya mbele ama ya nyuma?
Not a fire, leaks in the house.
I think
Sasa.
a
Me, it's
fire.
floods. Like floods.
Floods.
Oh, like you left your tap on and now your house is
You know,
flooded?
when you're called by these guys, you're
No.
That's what we're saying, bro.
Me, when my caretaker, leave this part in the pod, by the way.
Yeah.
When my caretaker calls me, I'm answering.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, you have
picking
to.
up
You have
immediately.
to.
James, I'm like, bro. It
could be anything.
I'm like, he's like, mkubwa, nimekugojea sana. I'm like,
What's
get to the point.
What's the first thing that came to your mind? What was the first worry that you
was
had? Like, I hope
what
it's
the
not
fuck is
this.
happening to their house?
Bro, whenever I get called by a caretaker, I just think about, because I've had a
Floods,
pipe,
bro.
I've had a pipe burst.
Yeah.
Some
Yo.
shit.
Pipes
Have it
even
to your-
busting your
Again, selling me I have a flat.
Wow.
A flat tire.
Yeah, he's like, nimekugojea sana imeisha.
Like, but
Not
the
now.
flat is flat now.
Now he's like, yo, you have a flat tire called Devi. Yeah. Oh,
Madness.
All sorted
Anyway.
now, uko sawa?
no, we'll figure it out. It's not an emergency.
So there you go. We get real phone calls on the pod, and we just stop and we're that kind of pod.
Yeah.
So I really
How's
enjoyed.
Rwanda?
Fam, let me tell you. Can I go into it? Are you?
Yeah,
Are
go
you?
ahead,
Let's go.
Like,
Go
be
ahead.
honest. Like,
Just go.
I spent a lot of emotional energy, angry, when I was in Rwanda.
Why?
Tell guys why you're in Rwanda. Also.
So first of all, shout going out to Val. You know Val, right? Shout going out to Val. Val used to work at Homeboys, and she was like, I had no plans to go to Rwanda, by the way, but she calls me. She's like, G, can you come and host the Rock Boys brunch? Well, you know, when
Something like that.
When Val calls, well, something like that. It was actually so that there was an innovation summit looking at different areas of how you can use sports to elevate society and how also technology interfaces with sports as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was really interesting. So they had a brunch. They had the formal day, then they had the brunch day.
Yeah.
So I was hosting the brunch. I had Ombachi was with me. So it was a last minute gig, but I was happy to go and experience Balan. Bro, I sat in that basketball arena. My first time there, sat in that basketball arena in Kigali and contrasted it with my first time at Nyayo Stadium with you guys a few weeks ago. And I was just so angry, bro. I was just so angry is not maybe the right word, but I was just like, why don't we have this
Yeah.
in Kenya? And it's not bad-minded, like, oh, everything you see people want, you want to have it as well. No, it's like, and you know, I did a deep dive and I'm like, this basketball arena in Rwanda was built at a cost of $104 million in 7 months. They broke ground on the 19th of January 2019. They opened it on the 9th of August 2019.
Damn.
And I'm just saying to myself, like, this is a 10,000 seater arena, bro. It's hosted John Legend, Kendrick Lamar, and other. I don't know if Usher did. I know other artists as well. The point I'm trying to make is, our neighbors have nice things, bro.
Yeah.
Like they got a proper football stadium. So they got this complex called Sports City. It's the stadium and the beat and the arena stuff. It's so well put together.
Do you go into Amahoro?
I didn't go into the stadium.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Proper. And like I've been in stadiums around the world. I've been in stadiums in UK, in France, in America as well. What I liked about the arena in Kigali is that it's the same kind of setup where you go in, you have the shops going around, the shops, the bars, whatever, not the bars, the food places. And my thought is, it just takes intention.
Yeah.
What Rwanda is beating Kenya with is the distance between ideation and execution. So ideation in Kigali, from what I can see, it's a planned city. There's not just apartments popping up willy-nilly. I'm sure there are some places, but not where we were. So it's like ideation, execution. So here's the idea. President says we're going to do it, we execute. Whereas the distance between ideation and execution in Kenya is ideation, execution, stop here, stop there, go up there, go around there. Right? You got to go to the office that says, how am I going to eat? Go back around here. And I think, you know, Kenyans, we always say, well, not me, but people always say, oh, you know, but we have our freedom. Well, you know, those guys in Rwanda, they can't do this, they can't do that.
They live in fear.
They live in fear.
Yeah.
They have these things.
I like that kind of fear, bro. The fear that makes me not have to, the fear that allows me to walk on the street with my phone on Google Maps at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Because I feel like going for a walk. I like that kind of fear.
Yeah.
Nobody's bumping into you.
The fear that, oh, I'm going to stop at a traffic light because it's on red. I like that kind of fear. Cops don't have to man traffic lights. The kind of fear that can make me hail a bodder and say, here, take this phone and deliver it to South Sea to Miss blah, 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 blah. And the border guy takes the phone and drops it off. I like that kind of fear.
In Kenya,
That
people
kind
only
of
fear
fear I
God.
can live with.
Rwanda's amazing.
It's like, I know people always say, oh, I know where's my camera's here. Before you even write this in the comments, gee, if you don't like it in Kenya, then go to Rwanda. I'm just saying we have a lot to learn from our cousins about political intention.
Yeah.
Like
that's the one.
we have, it's like everyone talks about how clean, it was clean even when I went there 7 years ago. But everyone, do you know how beautiful it is to just see people like walking? Like people walk in Nairobi, don't get me wrong, we're a walking nation. But we walk to get somewhere. Like no one's like, hey, let's go for a walk. If you're going for a walk, you're going to somewhere where you know that it's safe or whatever.
Did you go towards, like when you're going towards the golf club and right by the road, there's a running track that extends for a distance. Like running track with rubber.
Yes.
You know, like what you have at Jaffrey's?
Yes.
So you can literally run at whatever time.
Fam, let me tell you.
You know what I mean?
And it's like, you know, people talk about what Rwanda went through in terms of the genocide 30 years ago. And yes, but the thing about it is they went through that, right? But what Kagame has been able to do, call him whatever you call him, but what he's managed to create in terms of planning and in terms of intention is amazing. And I think, I'd say generally, whether you call it brainwashing or whatever, but the average Rwandan is very proud of the direction that Rwanda is going.
Yeah.
And when you leave Kigali, because usually it's easy to make the city look pretty and stuff, but when you, because I've left Kigali and gone into the rural areas, the roads are still very good. They're still very well maintained. It's just, it's just longing for that intention within certain things. Like from the Rwanda, when I spoke to my Rwandan buddies over there, shotgun out to Alan, shotgun out to Gideon, they're proud, bro. Like they're like
They even have their president as their profile picture.
as their profile pictures,
On
bro.
WhatsApp.
Fam, those guys are proud, bro. Like like you see, even in Jamaica, we have a level of arrogant pride. Like, yo, Jamaica, the baddest place on earth. There's a level of pride. Nigerians are the same as well, and quite rightly, I feel that everyone should be proud of their nationality. But I want us to move away from being proud that we're just proud because we're proud. I want us to be proud because we have nice things as well.
True.
Actually have something.
I want us to drive past a stadium and say, I'm proud of that. I want us to be proud to have some stuff to be proud about.
Are there things, especially someone like you, who you're well traveled, you've been to a lot of places, but are there things that you think Kenyans should be more proud of that we take for granted? Say the way you're saying, you go through somewhere or you see something and you're like, man, I'm so proud that we have this as a nation.
One thing I will tell you about Kenya that I think probably only you can compete in very like big markets. And even if you compare to the UK, bro, Kenyans are entrepreneurial, bro.
Okay.
We hustle. Like we hustle. Like, bro, I had lunch with some guy in the tech space today. Mind blowing. Some of the things that we're doing here, like we're doing bits. But the problem now becomes to be like, for every story you hear of success, you hear 10 of, I wanted to do this, but I got stopped by you know?
Yep.
So I feel like the spirit of Kenyans is amazing. Like just our energy, like, and that's why even when we go abroad, we tend to excel, especially in different spaces, because we have this thing. And I'm telling people, and I've said it on the pod before, that no matter where I go in the world, I had a conversation, big up Gojuko, I had lunch with today. Wherever I go in the world, by the time it hits week 2, 2.5, 3, I just want to get back to that. Brother. There's something in this chaos that is
beautiful.
so attractive and beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, here's
Toxic,
the thing.
but we take it.
Kenya, you know, when you compare it to Rwanda, we're still ahead, 100%.
In terms of economy?
Economy, also amenities, 100%. Yes, we still are, right? Even in terms of like, what hotel were you staying at?
I was saying that it was called Marriott.
That one street that has all of the hotels.
Marriott there, Four Seasons there.
Yeah.
Serena's now the older hotel in Kigali.
And then I think at the end,
there's
they
the Radisson, the Radisson as well.
They have like a memorial towards the end. So in terms of that, like if we were to have...
I know where you're going with this. If we were to have a conference and we had 20,000 delegates, we would have space for them.
We'd have space. But now here's the thing, right? You know, it's like when you're good at something and you get complacent, because it's simply that. Because we've been good for so long. You guys are, you know, you're the leading economy. Like say the economy of Rwanda. Okay, let's even talk about. Let's not even. I don't want to get into the numbers, right? In terms of Rwanda, how much petroleum they use as a country is probably equal to what Nairobi uses. Alone.
Right.
You get, like, we're huge, but we're complacent. When you ask yourself that story about the, like, say for instance, the stadium, I see guys, which is the pride and gem, the BK Arena, a Mahoro Stadium, when you even look at the convention center, the cleanliness of the roads, how there's, you know, proper policing, Boda guy is not carrying you without a helmet, they're stopping, you know, all of those things, right? They make everything easier. You know what I'm saying? So we just need to wake up from that slumber. And now the slumber that we have, it's like today I saw, and Eric Omondi shared this, of a father who was carrying a body of a lifeless child. And he was so angry. The father was like, there was a security guard at the hospital who was trying to push him or, you know, tell him, you got to go back inside. And this guy is holding the body of
Baby.
dead baby, and he's hitting this guy. And the caption was like, this guy is going through so much pain, and you're being told about a system that's supposed to be working, what, but we have too many people who are politicians and not actual leaders. You get what I mean? So it all boils down to that. Like, bro, when you see what the intention, like I saw Georgie Dirango posting about the Minister of Health, an actual doctor who's in his 30s.
Where?
In Rwanda.
Oh, wow.
You get what I mean? In Namibia, they've got the same, a lady who's an actual doctor in their 30s.
But here's the thing the one thing I would say about that is, like, I feel that governance and the ability to manage is not dinted, is not by dint of the profession that you're in. So, for example, it's like saying a teacher should be Ministry of Health, should be Minister of Education. I think that
I agree.
Because I agree that there are some people who are just great managers.
Yes.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like Arteta. And like
The agenda must agenda.
So I feel at the end of the day, it does also make sense.
Yeah.
If you have a great manager who's a doctor, someone who understands what it's like to be in the trenches.
Yeah, it's like, rightfully so. And I'm actually going to pick up on when you said trenches, right? If you're going to be head of defense, cabinet secretary, head of defense, and you've come from a whole education background where you're strictly a teacher, bro,
true.
these people are not even going to respect you. They're just looking at you like, bro, you're a teacher.
Who are you? Yeah.
Us guys have been in trenches, literally, for things that are so fundamental, like things like agriculture, education, health, security. You can't play around with those things. You get what I mean?
True.
Yeah, like now health over here, bro. Like, how long are we going to keep talking about this? Imagine if that was Rwanda or even the NHS in the UK.
Yeah, but I feel like what I do like about, I mean, whether you call it dictatorship or whatever you call it, but what I do like about is that ministerial accountability. Because, for example, how Kagame works in a sense of like, he'll go and do these town halls around the country and someone will say, President,
this minister,
these our rivers are flooding, whatever, and then he'll be like, throughout to his ministry, like, my friend, what are you doing? That level of immediate accountability, I like it. You know what I mean?
Okay, Antonio Kibbs were having that conversation this morning because Antonio was also in Rwanda and they had the DJ who was playing at the ball and he had the same sentiments and reflecting, he was like, what he feels we lack over here is the same thing. It's that follow through, that accountability.
Who's that, the DJ?
No.
Generally?
No, Antonio Kibbs, this was his sentiment, Like, we will have someone come up with an amazing proposal. We get some sponsors in to finance or fund a project, but then that's it. And I remember there's a time I was watching some guy on TikTok and he was doing his own investigative journalism, right? Because there's what do I call this? Like there's some things you can access online, some files, some documents that you can access online that Kenyans don't think you can,
Right.
And he decided, what? If there's a particular project that has been proposed by maybe a particular politician and they've already done 1, 2, 3 things, I can follow up and see what progress they have made or what were the terms of this agreement. What was this deal all about? And to his surprise, I remember he did, the last one I saw was a stadium that was supposed to have been set up in some rural place. Bro, it was just a field. This was, I don't know how, 1 year later, after the whole project has gone through, the money was given by the sponsors and everything. But bro, there was nothing. It was just nothing. There were some classes which were to be built next to that field. Bro, it was just shucks.
As you come in from Nakuru, there's and this was also some other investigative journalist guy, I don't know who did it on one of these platforms. There's a whole market that's half finished. Somewhere on the left as you come through. But I didn't even, to me, it was just an unfinished market. But now when I watched it on YouTube, the guy was showing how this is where it was supposed to be the cold rooms. This was supposed to be this, is supposed to be that. It didn't happen. It's just accountability, man.
I think we also can't blame Kenyans 100% because it's, as you guys were saying, it's hard for us. We become hustlers. And in our hustling, it's gotten to a point where we can't necessarily do much. because you're going to be hustled either way by the government, by Kanju, by whoever it is that's hustling you, to the point where it's even become hard for people to fund us from outside the country or to give us money because they feel like immediately you say you're a Kenyan, the amount of stress that you have to go through so that a project can actually launch or something can actually happen as a private equity or a private individual doing or bringing something up. So yes, we can say we are complacent, but at the same time, I think it's the hand that we've been dealt as well. Like, there's only so much we can do, but I mean, we keep trying, I guess.
I love Kenya. I love living in Kenya. Like, I love the energy. I love Nairobi. Like, to the bottom of my heart, like, you know, I want to spend all of my life here, but I just.
But will you?
God willing, you know. I just want us to be better, man, and I just want us. And sometimes I think the hardest thing for me that I've had to come to terms with is that sometimes you sit down and you say to yourself, where is the change going to come from? And you can't see it.
Yeah,
and that's scary. That is actually scary.
Next election, bro. I was telling you this earlier on. I feel like after the next election, we are at how do I put this? Like a nexus point where it can go either way. It can go really well or it can go really bad.
Right.
And we're the ones to decide. So I feel like come next election, we're either gonna experience exponential change in a positive way, or we might have to endure a bit more hardship before we get back on track and start heading where we want to go.
You know, as we approach June 25th and thereabout, right? I mentioned this last year on the podcast around that period, right? We need more young people to take up leadership positions.
Yep.
Fact.
Yep.
That is actually it. You know, like we could say approaching. Bro, if there's no young leaders on the ballot, you're dealt the same hand.
But it's a different version.
Exactly. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's actually serious. And as we get out of that, right? First and foremost, I feel like you guys are really messing my life up as Kenyans. Like,
we
the fuck you said fuck me for?
like everyone, no, like
stealing.
you guys. I'm like Kenyan.
Like us guys on set was
No,
Kenyans.
everyone, this is Kenyans out there, bro.
Okay.
I'm like, Kenyans, bro, chill, bro.
What they
What
do?
did we do?
Bro, Tanzania. I've got to go to Tanzania next month, right?
Oh, okay.
I got to go to Tanzania next month. And I know at the airport, they always ask you, hey, fill up where you're going to be staying, who's your local contact, what are you here for? Now, next time, I know me, a dreadlock guy over there, apale immigration, umekuja kufanya nini?
Activist.
Nigga, they don't know you. Let
me tell you.
You can't even speak Swahili. Just
Right now they're on like
High alert.
high alert.
Yeah.
Because you know they're gonna be asking you, yo, why are you here?
Why are you here?
You're Kenyan and you're young and you just look
You're
like
just visiting?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Nimekuja kutesa.
Bro, we'll go back to Tanzania. Bro, going into Rwanda for me.
They asked you, bro.
Jesus.
Yeah.
20 minutes of immigration, bro.
No way.
They don't
They
play.
were like, yo, why are you here? Where are you going? Where are you staying?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm here for Bala. And and for me, I've got like a short fuse.
Yeah.
So he's holding me there and I'm just there talking and I'm like, by the way, why is it so hard to get into your country? Guy goes, relax, sir. I'm just doing my, I'm like, okay.
We're trying to be friendly here.
He asked me for the phone number of my contact person in Kigali. I had
It's
to
in black, right?
Huh?
Full black.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, like Val, she's like, tell them that you're here for Val. You've got your QR code, you've got your da. By the time he finished his process, he was smiling. The lady next door to him was even laughing as well. But bro, I have never ever experienced that.
Hey, they're strict.
Yeah, so you guys, so back to your conversation.
Yeah.
You dreadlocked.
Now,
noisemakers going to Tanzania, you're going to be finished.
Like I even thought about it, bro. Like, so today,
And they see your record like, this guy has been here a couple
of times.
Yeah. Anafanya nini huku?
You know,
First of all, so
You're doing your research, huh?
if you're just watching and wondering what we're talking about, basically a couple of Kenyan Kenyan,
and a
couple of Kenyan
former CJs. Let's even say couple of Kenyans infiltrated, made their way
infiltrated.
Yeah, that's what they've been using. Let's not be
let's use our language.
So Kenyans who are activists and lawyers, and even our former CJ, made it into Tanzania. Some did. Boniface Mwangi and a couple of, what was the name? Agatha? They made it through, and they couldn't leave their hotel. That's where they were picked up from.
Yeah.
Martha and her 2 pals belonged at the airport. Maraga was actually in the courtroom for, what's his name? Tundu something. The case, right?
Yeah.
Where by the way, it's actually a tough case, right? If he's gonna beat it, I don't know how. So for more context, Tanzania is about to go into an election in October. Right. And opposition are really nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know CCM don't play. You get what I mean? CCM,
the ruling party.
That's the ruling party, right? And it looks like as of right now,
Mapinduzi.
I don't even know.
Ndio Chama cha Mapinduzi. Oh.
Yeah. And it even looks like essentially Suluhu doesn't look like she has competition.
Right.
Akona suluhisho.
She has suluhisho. You know what's interesting about Tanzania? Like now, CCM, the ruling party, currently, when they go to an election, the person who's running for president has to come from Tanzania. The vice president has to come from Zanzibar.
Yeah.
So they alternate. So like you'll have Muni was from Zanzibar, and then the deputy. So that you know Tanzania, Tanganyika, and Zanzibar. So that's the whole thing. So that's how it is. So like when she took over from Magufuli is a guy for Tanzania.
Okay.
She's from Zanzibar. Yeah, that's how it is.
So basically, them not allowing in some of our politicians and activists, it's on them. It's their country.
Yeah.
But then now, why did their parliamentarians feel the need to take on the whole of Kenya?
No, so here's the thing, and so rightfully do parliamentary what do you call? Parliamentarians do that. If it was Kenya, we'd do the same.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because you listen to these guys.
I don't think so.
Oh my God!
I don't think so, bro.
No, we do this. We would do the same.
We would do the
I think
same.
we're more
Not at that
permissive.
extent.
But
Yeah.
we would not have said that this woman's face looked like she lacks powder.
Tunawazidi kwa kila kitu.
Bro, that was taking
Kizungu too.
That was taking it to another level, bro.
But they were getting petty though. But you know, here's the thing, right? So, okay, I can see a couple of MPs from Kenya would do that. But Kenya MPs have the privilege of having something called Kenyans on Twitter. Those guys will take that war for you.
Yeah. Yes.
As they rightfully did.
Yeah.
And Tanzanians...
No delay.
Tanzanians were busy on YouTube watching Diamond's latest video. You get? Or getting ready for my boy's wedding, Juma Jux's wedding this week, right? So they were getting ready. They've got so many different kind of things. And you guys are typing at magnificent speeds in English.
Keyboard warrior.
So you guys are even talking to guys who are not so married.
They can't even read the English.
These guys even got the phone number of the MP.
Exactly.
I was
Salimian,
thinking,
yeah. So you get. So now it was not Kenya Army versus Tanzania Army. Ni nani watawasaidia?
Wow.
But come on, like, bro, like, now what's that?
It's just pettiness.
Exactly, and I think it's kind of tricky. Kwanza, East Africa, we are small. We're trying to grow, we're trying to be stable. And then something small as this, ni kama kubishana nyumbani, you know, you guys can't go and represent yourselves out there if every other day you and your neighbor are at it.
But if you notice, it's done in a very smart way. And hence why I'm saying, like I'll use an example. This MP who's the minority leader.
Who in Kenya? Or
Who's the minority leader? He's an MP from Suba.
Oh, the government is not yet.
The guy who looks Somali, but he's a Luo MP.
That one.
He's always with Baba.
Okay, go on.
That one, go on, yeah.
The way he went in on Gachagua, he was in parliament screaming, who is going to protect us? If it was ODM, like, I was like, that energy, same energy as what that MP was doing. Here's the thing. If you belong to the ruling party or an affiliation to the party that's taken the day, if the power that be says, go into parliament and say these things, you have to. Those are, if you ask them honestly, do you really have that much hate towards Martha? She'll probably be like, nah, I'm just saying these things. These politicians just say these things.
So now my question is, why? That's all I'm asking.
It's just because they're feeling, and even when you even look at the way Suluhu spoke about it, she was like, no, she articulated it, and she was like, no, we don't need you guys to come meddle in our business. This is Tanzania. Like, don't do that shit. You get? So MPs now have something. They all have to dramatize it, and it would be the same thing if someone from Kenya did, and hence why this whole conversation.
Bruv.
And that's what I'm saying. Ain't no way.
No. You know, here's the thing.
We don't do that. We are receptive. We're permissive as a society.
I'm trying to think. Kenya allowed guys to come and kidnap Bessie J.
Bro.
That's true.
Nah,
I'd even forgotten about that. Bro.
No, G.
I'd even forgotten about that.
You know, you guys are trivial.
We will open our doors for you to come and meddle with our affairs. Come and meddle.
No, guys, you guys are acting like you've not been living in East Africa, right? So let me put it like this, right? In terms of East Africa, who's the kingpin right now?
Who? Museveni.
It's Museveni.
Right.
Oh, you mean president?
Yeah,
okay.
like Museveni is the bad man. The bad man. He's been there 40 years. You
And
get what I mean? You've got Rwanda, still part of the larger East African community.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got Sudan. You've got Congo that just got included and everything, right?
Burundi.
You've got Burundi. You've now got Tanzania, right?
Yeah.
Tanzania has had situations where they've incarcerated people before. And hence why I'm saying why Suluhu is pissed off, and this is not the popular opinion amongst Kenyans, but this is how I look at it. We've seen Bessie J, what do you call it? Kidnapped in Kenya and taken across the border. Right?
Yeah.
And we saw Martha go represent. She was in court and trying to do all of that. And, you know, it was being...
There was even a Tanzanian who was kidnapped in Kenya. That lady.
In Kenya, that lady, the editor.
Yeah.
But now, let me get to the point, right?
Yeah, take your time, bro.
Rwanda, you don't have Kenyans. You just spoke about how your entry into Rwanda is was tough.
Yeah.
No activists. Why didn't the activists go into Uganda when Bobby Wine was going through everything that he was going through for as long as he's been going through?
Fair point.
Bessie J has been arrested enough times. Rwanda has had its fair share of things over the years.
True.
So many countries. Then you guys decided Tanzanians, because they're fucking Swahili.
No, bro.
No. This is
point.
No, he doesn't. You know why?
No,
because
this
you can't compare M7's ruler.
That is the fucking point.
No, it's okay. And therein lies my point as well. It's not a healthy environment, bro. Everybody knows that. I cannot even go and, like, bro,
Exactly.
Ugandans, when we were busy here protesting the Gen Zs and all that, guys in Uganda are even making jokes about, bro, you guys can do that.
Yes.
You mean, so, but no one from Kenya seeing how things are being handled over there,
and Andy,
but it's because it's toxic.
Anyway,
it's not because it's a good thing,
Andy,
bro.
Andy,
Stop.
No, hold on.
No, let the man cook, bro. Let the man
Andy,
cook.
here's the point. The point of what I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing with you. But when you see Tanzanians reacting as they are, it's because they're like, oh, so you Kenyans think we're the weak ones in all of this. Why didn't you fucking do it in Rwanda? Why didn't you do it in Uganda?
Okay, I see
then
that.
you come here because, you think we're the chill ones and we never are. You know, like everybody's always, when you deal with Kenyans and Tanzanians are always saying Kenyans are very shrewd, they're very loud, they're very whatever. Then they're very meek. That is, you've been there enough.
Kebu nikuulize, do you think Ina Martha Karua took themselves over there? Do you think Ina Boniface Mwangi took themselves over there?
What do you mean?
They technically did. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Do you think they actually said? No, I'm sure somebody probably called them over, invited them, or something of the sort.
Well,
I'm sure Martha Karua alikuwa amekaa akasema, you know what? I'm bored. Let me go over there and do something.
I don't think let's not trivialize it and say Martha Karua was bored and decided to go.
It's an extreme example.
She is part of the East African community. She's a lawyer. Low society and all of that.
Yes.
So someone who is an opposition leader and is being put into jail and who could end up in jail for a long time.
For that. Rama would know the answer for that.
Rama,
he's the chairman of he's the president of the East. Rama's come from far now. He's the president of the East African Law Society.
He studied in Russia, right?
No, he studied here, but he's now the president, bruv.
Yeah. But you see, so here's the thing. There's amongst, like when the former CJ went, it's because there's some things they got to stand for. And there's lawyers in the whole of East Africa who all know each other and they'll do the same. Because you're fighting not any other lawyer in that country can come out and go against the government. You
Yeah.
get what I mean? You know, like they know what is happening.
Risk,
All right, so let me just ask Rama, because like I feel that he'll be able to guide us as to why these people were actually there. Because you call me, I'm calling you. You're live on the podcast. The man says you're Conrad. How you doing, brother? You good?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good, man. Don't swear. You're live on the podcast, yeah?
Very well.
So we're talking about like our guys being arrested in Tanzania, yeah? So I know. No, don't worry. I just got one question, yeah?
Okay.
So why? So you see the guys who went from Kenya to Tanzania, yeah?
Yeah.
Like Martha Karua knows. Why did they go?
To follow up on the case for Tundu Lissu.
All right. So did they go as?
Tundu Lissu was being arraigned in court, yeah?
Yeah.
So they went to follow on the proceedings.
Okay. So as who though? Like as who?
As lawyers from East Africa.
Did anyone invite them or did they just go?
As lawyers in East Africa, there's a principle of open justice where everyone is allowed to enter into a courtroom and listen.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a principle in law.
Okay.
So even anyone in Kenya can just walk into Milimani law courts and just listen to any case.
Yeah.
That's a principle in law. So you don't have to be invited.
Okay. Thank you, boss.
But,
You see,
but they are also East Africa Law Society members.
right.
Yes.
Okay. See, I had to call him. We had to get the juice from you because you're like you're the only friend I know that will give me the right answer. You're well though.
I'm well. Yourself?
All right, all is good, man. I'll call you after the podcast.
How's the family?
Very well, bro.
All right, bless up.
Cheers.
There you go.
Ashley wanted to say something.
I think he's pretty much wrapped it
So
up.
basically, it's not that they had to go, but they didn't.
They did
They actually have a
before.
right to go
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
As lawyers in East Africa.
Yeah.
And now, what message does that send? Therein lies my point. Because if you handle this situation like this, yes, I get it's a delicate situation. I get it's volatile right now. But if this is how you respond to people moving with the freedoms that they have gained, that they have, respectfully, they have earned this freedom and not just earning it, but they've worked to get there, right? So if this is how you handle such a situation, what does that say about everything else? And therein lies my point, because you can't treat people who are coming in like these are well-wishers. These are people who wish you well. Si ati ni watu wanakuja na ubaya. Si ati they're coming to make the country become unstable or destabilize or plan a coup or anything of the sort. And also, I'm speaking out of ignorance. Si ati I have all the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
How I look at it is this, right? You make a lot of sense. But I just look at it as I am the president of a country. And you have all of the sovereign power, the rights. You're the commander in chief. How does it look in East Africa when I sit with my fellow presidents? You get?
And your guys
are coming. And
No, I get it.
Kenya already has been looked at as, you guys are the noisy bunch. When you listen to all of those MPs and what they're saying, you guys even stormed parliament, burnt that shit. Like, they're like, bro, keep your shit to yourself.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
But can I just say that, just to throw a random opinion out there, right? I don't want no one to tell me that Uganda's a serious country. I don't want no one. Let me tell you.
Uganda was chilling.
They're just silly, bro. They're just silly.
Let me
They're
tell
catching
you.
strays.
You know what should they apology yesterday?
You know what?
To who?
The president and the wife.
Yeah, but I heard that.
Who
Apologize to
Yo,
who?
they apologized. They did
the Buganda.
Who is they?
The
Ugandans
president and the first lady, the daughter had a prayer ceremony. You get what I mean? And they had a whole speech they were reading
I read
joints
it.
together.
Yeah.
And they were like, we apologize
To
for
the
all
Bugandas.
No. They said to the Buganda people and to the rest of, Uganda, right? And they were like, for things that we may have done that have hurt you,
I saw
or agents that are related are part of us.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was a whole thing. So guys were like, what the fuck is happening?
Damn, are we
One step
healing?
down?
Like I told you, unserious. You know how I knew that Uganda is unserious? When I went there for this event in December, Reminisce, shout out to Reminisce, best event in Uganda. Fam, I knew they're unserious when the man who came to pick me up had a beer. between his legs like that. I was just sipping while he was driving. And then when he saw the horror in my face, you thought you think the horror was because he thought he's horrified because I haven't offered him a beer. The guy's like, yo,
oh shit, sorry.
There's a beer in the back if you want it.
Oh, man.
This
I
time
love
I'm like,
it.
I'm serious. Yeah.
But you know, I could use that beer. The airport is pretty far.
Bro, I wasn't even at the airport. I was at a hotel, bro. Shout going out to mention no names.
Yo,
but yeah.
but it's an interesting time. But anyway, speaking about East Africa and Kenya and what, yo, bien.
Yes.
I was so fucking proud of him.
Yeah.
Kenya's golden boy.
The way he articulated, what do you call it? Everything that we're going through.
By the way, Bien was amazing. But can I just say that I used to be like a big Charlemagne the God fan.
Yeah.
Because I loved the fact that he was so anti everything, like on the radio. But now that when I guess things are like,
I was like, bro, come on.
He's not
man.
grown.
you're trying too hard. Like, you're trying too hard.
Leave,
Like,
just drop it,
just
man.
leave it. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Like, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think Bien just sprang through.
No,
they obviously knew.
Yeah.
When he asked him, yo, is it right next to Tanzania?
But I can tell you one thing though. You could tell that was an interview that I wouldn't say they weren't invested in because they got invested in it because of how good Bien was.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
Sometimes we work in radio.
Yeah.
Let's not lie. Sometimes we do interviews.
I had my radio mind when I was watching. I couldn't
So you
help
could
it.
see it's like one of the they got like, let's say the publicist says, okay, we have this artist from East Africa, Bien, we're gonna do an interview, he's the hottest thing out there, all right, cool, send him in. Because remember, I think that interview is not under, it's recorded after.
Yeah.
Right? Because they can swear and all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is Bien was so good that they had to become invested in the conversation.
Because they were asking generic
Because-
questions, man.
and you see, like, for example, when Charlemagne was like, what do you identify as?
Yeah.
And then
I
Bien's
saw that question. I
and
was
Bien's like, I identify as an African man.
Yeah.
That was a boom answer, bro.
Yeah.
And then when he goes, when like a woman gets home and takes off her bra, she feels freedom. So she goes, and Charlemagne was like, yeah, but that's not being authentic. Like, just take off everything and have your dick swinging around or whatever he said. And I thought to myself in that moment, like, you're trying too hard to be in character here, but Bien is good enough to bounce you back.
Yeah.
His authenticity will demand that you meet him where he's at. And now you operate at
and
this
that's
level.
what I saw.
Yeah.
I saw, apart from Jess, is her name Jess?
Just hilarious.
Jess Hilarious.
Yeah.
She was
good.
well received. She was really good.
Jess is
She was
good,
asking
bro.
the proper
Jess is
questions.
good.
Yeah.
You could tell like she was actually reading.
Yeah, she was asking
Whereas
proper questions.
There was a point when Envy was like this.
Envy was just
Like,
Just be chilling it.
yeah.
Envy, the only thing that saved him was the fact that he's been to Nairobi twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of,
He has some
gets it. So
context.
he's like, yeah, I can see.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said I played in Kenya twice. Yeah. And
Man.
and you say when I say I've played in Nairobi, it should be. But anyway, Americans don't really know Africa like that.
Yeah.
But then once
Kenya is Africa.
Kenya is-
Nairobi is Africa.
And I love how like now Charlemagne was making reference to Zanzibar because it's the closest
It's
he's been
his
to
been.
Kenya.
Yeah.
And I love every time I hear something like that because anytime you hear someone who is foreign having a conversation with a local and maybe this is to say minimum states, right? I've gone to probably New York and I meet someone in New York who the closest they've been to Kenya is, let's say, Sudan. And they're like, yo, I've been to South Sudan, man. I'm like,
It's not the same thing.
It's like, and I love that, right? It's like now when you're speaking to like some people, right? And that's why at times I feel like, bro, if someone's telling you I've been to Africa, you gotta tell them, be more specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if they're hitting like Europe, they'll be like, I was in London, I was in Paris.
Yes.
You get
But
Nairobi,
but Americans are very much like that.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember that the vast majority of Americans have never still left America.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm leaving studio on Saturday. Some white guys are checking into the office. I'm leaving. We shake hands, we say hi, because now we can't ignore one another. They're saying hi to everyone. I holler at one of them. Bro, it was literally like a 5-second exchange. And he was like, your English is so good. And I'm like, so this is what it be like, you know. But back to that conversation, the interview with BN and the Breakfast Club, man, I just couldn't help but, of course, I had my radio brain on, you know, and it challenged me as someone who does interviews, and in that moment, I was glad that this is not how I do my interview.
Right.
You know,
right.
like you can see, bro, this probably cost them maybe 2 minutes to plot out, okay, with the exclusion of just hilarious pose, just seemed like, and this is the part she plays, you know, her and the other babe who usually fills in when she's not around.
She's doing the DB case right now.
Those guys do their work, they do their research, and this is why they are there. Charlamagne does Charlamagne things, Envy does Envy things, but it spoke to me as a broadcaster, someone who is on radio, and I was feeling for BN. You know, that I needed to see that, because one of the questions that I like asking artists when I'm interviewing them is, whenever you're having this kind of exchanges, what kind of conversations do you prefer to have? What kind of messages, what kind of questions do you prefer being asked? And I love the fact that we usually have professionals doing broadcasts, like you find a rapper doing a podcast, bringing another rapper, having a conversation, and you hear the questions that they're being asked, and you're like, damn, that question needed to be asked. You know, so when I'm watching BN answering this,
Nori is good at that.
Nori is really good at that. So I'm not taking anything away from Kinashal and, you know, Envy and the crew, but that spoke volumes to me in terms of your responsibility and your accountability as the broadcaster.
But you know, like for me, I've stopped watching the Breakfast Club a long time ago. I don't watch.
I occasionally listen to Brilliant Idiots.
I only watch them when they interview someone I'm interested in.
I like Ebro. They do a bit more research.
They do a bit more research, but I also feel like Ebro is trying too hard as well.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes feel like with Ebro, like I love the fact that he's so pro-African, pro-black, pro everything to do with us, right?
Yeah.
But I feel sometimes it's like, it feels like a badge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you are, you know, if you're articulating your perspective of being pro whatever, then it comes naturally. Sometimes I feel like, you know.
Yeah. But also, here's the thing. I feel like...
but he's good.
He's good, right? But we still can't... What's the guy from the BBC, the Australian guy? The one on Apple Radio.
Zayn.
Zayn.
Zayn is different.
Zayn Lowe. By the way, Zayn Lowe... Like, so Zayn Lowe joined... Let me tell you how good Zayn Lowe is. When he joined the BBC, because he came from a station called XFM. I think it was XFM, can't remember. He's so good that these guys were like, yo, by the way, we're not allowing you to terminate your contract. You just
Like
won't
the deal.
You just won't be on air.
Max contract.
You get me?
Yeah.
And Zayn had to wait a long while before he joined the BBC. But I will never forget, at the Christmas party, Zayn was DJing, right? Zayn played Encore by Jay-Z of the Blueprint album, mixed it in, because he's a DJ as well, right? And I was like, bruh, this guy in this moment has picked my favorite song, like, this is before Encore.
Favorite artist.
Before Encore was a hit, right?
Yeah.
And Zayn can talk about hip-hop. He can talk about dancehall. He can talk about pop. He can talk about rock.
Yo,
he's so good. So that's why Apple Music took him from the BBC, and he's still there.
Yeah,
still there
since. And he's the one who like signed up all of these other
he's
guys.
the anchor.
Apple don't miss, bro.
Yeah.
Apple don't miss.
But Zayn, like, if Zayn was
Zayn
not
is
with
crazy.
Apple, your Apple wouldn't be
what it is.
Yeah.
And also, to be honest, not only is he that diverse musically, he's a hell of a broadcaster.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever listened to like a Zayn, like, I don't
Bro,
know
we
if
listen to Zayn.
Yeah.
He still on shows.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, man.
Like, I listen to Zayn Lowe quite a bit. But you know, so my thing is this, right? And I feel like, honestly, we should get to a point where maybe it's early days, but also I feel like some of these guys who on radio and interviewing all of these African stars, you know, all of these different guys coming from so many different places. I feel like they really need to challenge themselves and spend some time on the continent.
Do you know what? I agree with you, but also, now that you've mentioned that, I spent a lot of time with Octo in Kigali, and we're just chopping up like this memories, and he's telling me stuff that we did back in the day. And do you remember the time when there was a rumor about how he'd done a show with a song with, what's the guy's name?
August Alsina, yeah.
I remember.
Damn.
And I remember
And he gave us the exclusive on the radio, bro.
Yeah, and then I remember when he came back on the radio, and I was like, "You came in here and said this," and Octo was like, "I didn't say that."
Wow.
He didn't though, because what Octo was clever at is when people were saying this is August. Octo didn't comment. He said, "I just didn't deny it."
Yeah.
PR is PR.
You get me?
Hey,
we were having a really good conversation, and he made a very interesting point. And he was like, some of the stuff that's happening in Kenyan music now, urban tone, and some of the good stuff and some of the bad stuff. He goes, we have a responsibility. And he goes, we haven't really, he says, many artists have not really given our responsibility to the next generation in terms of mentorship, right? And then it made me really start thinking, because I've said some pretty bad things about radio over the last few months. And even, not really bad things, but like things that I don't like. But it made me think, when's the last time I sat down with a young presenter, a Jakes or a Chunky, and said, when you're doing your interviews, this is how you do it. Or when you're doing your links, this is how we do it. So I kind of think that there's a space in the market, not for traditional radio school, but I feel like those of us who have been there, who have done stuff in radio, have done stuff DJing or whatever your medium is, I think we do have a responsibility to try and go back and impart some of the learnings, some of the fundamental learnings that we have, because things do change. You know what I mean?
I think it's too late for that.
Yeah?
I think it's too late for that because the people that you are interviewing are doing it themselves now. Like, I don't need to come to you for you to ask me a particular question that I want the answer to go out. Before I get there,
I've already answered.
Yeah,
the question.
maybe I've probably
I'm
put it out.
not talking about the interviewee. I'm talking about the interviewer.
Yeah, I'm on the same thing.
What do you mean?
The same thing. Because
Use examples.
I use
like Jakes as an example.
Let me use Jakes as an example. They interviewed the likes of Kina Mr. T, this new Gengeton artist and all that. But Jakes' case might be a bit different, him with Chunky, because Jakes also does music. You know, so he can see things as an artist.
Okay.
He's interacted with these guys, you know, at a level where if we come on air, we can have a conversation as boys, the same way you do with Kina Okto and such and such. So how we lock in, even as millennials, the things that we talk about, the things we discuss, the questions I can ask you might be appealing to the audience in a different way. But before it got to that, this Mr. T probably already, this information that you're asking him about, he's put it out there himself. So maybe someone like Jakes has seen it out there and he's gone like, you know what, maybe I can bring this in at this particular point. Or maybe Mr. T went and got interviewed by another artist who asked him very important questions that needed to be asked.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's for example, all right, I'm going to do an interview. Yeah? And I'm interviewing, let's say, who's big, like one of these big, who's doing a round of interviews, right? So, one of the techniques that I would employ, the first technique I would employ is say, you know what? I'm not going to ask him the same shit he's been asked in 10 interviews.
Yes.
You get me?
Yes.
So, I'm saying I should also articulate to an up-and-coming presenter to say, when you frame your questions, be cognizant of what this guy has spent the whole day asking. Because if you want to get the best out of somebody, it's like, so for example, let me give you a very, very recent example. Robbie Lyle is in, AFTV are in Kenya, right? AFTV are in Kenya. Everybody is doing interviews with them. They're all over the place. They're on all of the major platforms, 1, 2 TV, everywhere, right? In my mind, I'm saying I don't want my interview to be like that. Not to say that they weren't, but I want my context to be different. We have the studio here. We could have just called them here and said, okay, cool, let's just sit and do what everybody else. I said, no, I'm going to invite them to the house. I'm going to set the setup so that they are sitting on my sofa and we're having a conversation like this.
I saw you went all out, bro.
You know, I'm going to feed these guys and make them feel welcome in the house. And I'm going to also touch on the other aspects of their lives like music and radio and cultural relevance.
Yes.
We could have we did talk about football, of course. but we could have spent the whole hour talking about football like what everybody else did.
Yeah.
But the only reason that I was able to do that is because I'm thinking on the next page or the next level. You get me?
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about the questions or the questioning or the relationship, but I'm trying to, how do you prepare mentally for your radio show? And the same way how you would be on air, the three of us would be on air and we'd say, okay, we can't all support this thing. So you be the antagonist. You be the
sit on the
fence, and I'm gonna hate this. And then we craft a compelling thing. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I'm with you on
technique.
that.
So 100%. And you know, when you were answering, I was like, what G's saying, right?
Yeah.
I feel like when you watch so many interviews for so many different guys who are seasoned or well seasoned on radio, on TV, and what you can always tell the guys who are here and are going to last, right? Guys, a lot of people don't do research.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do research. Like, fam, people are dropping albums on the radio, have not even listened to the album. How the fuck are you doing that? So when you're asking someone about a particular song, they probably even explained it on the song. So the musician is already like, you ain't even listen to my fucking song. So there's a lot of that. And I listen to a lot of Kenyan radio. That happens a lot.
A whole lot.
And people want to do this sensational shit, which trends, but
under you, bro, you know how I see it? Like, the difference is we want to do it.
Yes.
She wants to do it. For someone else, it's performative.
Right.
I have an interview in the morning. I need to knock it out and just go on with my show. Like, I'm just showing up to do this. But if you're not really then I don't think you're even going to be in the mental space to think, let me ask questions that are outside the box. Because had that been the case, you would have started preparing for that interview even yesterday.
But then I think to back up Calvin's point is, and this is something that I would like, this is why I think it's important for us and also for the artists to give back and to hold workshops and to reach out to these young ones, is because this whole scene that many people have been so instrumental in building can shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink, because you can't get to a point where the artists can't be asked to go for interviews because they're boring. The listener, because remember when you're doing another gem, when you're doing an interview, you're asking the questions on behalf of your audience.
What value is
not
this to
how
the listener?
You feel. Like, not how you feel. Like, I remember getting in trouble once in the on air because, and I learned this lesson the hard way. Back in the day, there's an artist called Miss Dynamite, and she had a police case. But she was also my friend. So when she came to do the interview, I didn't ask her anything about the police case, because this is my home slice, right?
But that's the tea.
Right? My editor said to me at the time, let me tell you something, G. If you can't ask your friends the questions that need to be asked, then you shouldn't be in that chair. So just let me know and I'll get someone to replace you.
The questions that need to be asked.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So the questions that need to be asked, so when you're framing your questions in an interview, it's like if you listen to the BN interview, to take it back there, right?
Yeah.
For the first bit when Charlemagne was just fooling around and all that stuff, bro, that was 5 minutes where the audience gained nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. In fact, if Bien wasn't as good as he was an interviewer, that could have been the most uncomfortable interview out there.
True. I have to give Bien props.
You know, here's the thing. You can never be too good at interviewing. Bro, I've watched interviews where I'm like, whoa, okay. Oh shit, like you keep learning. But also, I think if you're like a radio presenter or someone who interviews a lot of people, I think it's also important to also give feedback at times, right?
Yes.
Like, I've fucking sent an email to a label.
You know.
And I've told fucking the label, this artist of yours, this is the second time I've done a fucking interview. First and foremost, they were late, they were drinking the night before, they're disinterested, they're drowsy as fuck. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You should have stayed, because it's an insult to me, to the station, to the audience.
Yes.
You get what I mean? Like, yo, I fucking sent a message to fucking Blackbone's management. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, you have the hottest song, you're jumping, you're out, but you're just like... G and I've even gotten on phone. He's like, yo, you're interviewing those guys? Yeah, they had to interview. I'm like, I know.
I've been told the same, man. I remember there's an artist I was interviewing, and someone, who is also a broadcaster on a different station.
Yeah.
They text me and they're like, all the best interviewing that guy, because they know. Which leads me to, I want to make 2 more points before we go. One other thing that affects that is the culture of that media house or that station.
True.
Because
you could be good.
Yeah, you could be good, but
with all intention.
Bro, I have been in situations where you do a solid, maybe not me, someone does a solid interview, like, you know what? So many gems in there, whether it's an artist, whether it's someone who is doing something amazing. And then during the review of the show, right, the guy up top asks them, where's the hot tea? You know, like, where's the controversy? And you're like, bro, first of all, we're trying to push art over here.
Yeah.
You know, we are not that station. It's also dependent on the station. We're not that station that dwells on gossip or who did you cheat on or who are you dating right now. Bro, come on. Hadilini, you know.
Same shit.
There's that. Damn, I've forgotten the other one. But generally, I think anyone who is in a position to do anything of the sort, bruh, just either do it or don't do it. You're either all in or you're just out of it.
Yeah.
But yes, I've remembered the other thing. I think as an interviewer, you need to understand who you're interviewing, assess. For example, you can have someone who is very bubbly, very talkative, and they eat up all the time, right? So you need to know, okay, maybe I need to learn how to, or I need to control them, guide them somewhere. And then there's those ones who are unresponsive. Yes. No.
Yeah. Like, what the
I'm
fuck?
not, bro, come on, man.
You know,
I don't want to mention anything. I mean, the first time I interviewed,
mention it, guys.
Just say.
no, the first time I interviewed Brooklyn Boys, I struggled. And was it Brooklyn? I remember it was Brooklyn Boys. And I remember at the end of the interview, I said to them, guys, this is your platform. This is your.
You're selling yourself.
And just be. And I was mad as in the studio. I was like, yo, listen. Were you
Nonchalant.
I was like, yo, listen,
so.
like
I don't know.
Just like, kicked out some guys in studio, bro.
I have.
Like, honestly, I've had some.
But it had to be said, because the thing about it is, and I am very cognizant, especially of being in Kenya, that, fam, if I'm interviewing this artist who speaks and he raps in Sheng and he whatever, I have to go slowly.
Yeah.
Because some people are not comfortable with the kizungu, like, so, you know, and I have to be, so I make sure that I couch my in a way. So, what was the most important thing for you on this album? Because when you answer me, you answer from a place of passion.
Yeah.
I don't even need to understand 100% of what your answer is. I'll pick up most of it, but the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, but it's like there's a difference between, that's not me. Oh, no,
you know, interviews are some very amazing things, right?
Yeah.
You know, like when I was saying prep, right? Another thing a lot of people don't do is actually listen to the answers. If you're one of those guys who've prepped and you've written your questions,
you're busy looking for the next one.
Number 2.
Yeah.
You're this guy could have said something.
Ashajibu number 2.
You hear that in press conferences every moment where like someone like so why did you call your album Bella? The artist says, well, Bella was the first chick I had sex with when I was a teenager. And the next question is, okay, so at what age do you know you wanted to be a museum? Don't you hear the question? Yo,
Bella was the reason.
Bella, the secondary question is right there.
Yeah.
And even when I was teaching in radio school, I said, guys, listen to the answers, because even if you have 8 questions, bro, you might only get through 2, because the secondary questions are so much.
Yeah.
And many artists are actually good at that.
And you build up on that as you go.
Yeah.
But also just icebreakers as well. You know, guys are just like, you enter the studio. I mean, they could be late as well, right? But also watch them, listen to them keenly, but also ask them some things off the mic. You'll get content.
Yes, off my conversation.
Let me tell you, and that's also a great tip there as well, because when think about it, right, and put yourself in the context of an artist, right? Many artists are nocturnals, right? Fam, when
many artists are not
nocturnal.
Okay.
They're up late. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Think about you having an artist in your. Bro, this morning I had a meeting at 9:30. So I woke up at 7, right? And not to say that I knew we was gonna have this conversation, but when I woke up at 7 this morning, I was just like, why is this meeting at 9? Why can't it be at midday or something? Put yourself in the artist who's been on a plane 5 days a week, who's now woken up at 7 a.m. To come to your show to do an interview.
And they're on a press run.
And they're on a press run. And they're going from this. So when he walks into the studio and he has his dark glasses on, and he's
hoodie.
And he's hooded up. Break the ice, man.
Yeah.
Break the ice. Break the ice. For me, I always look at their shoes. And gas them up about their shoes, or don't gas them up about their shoes. Yo, those are, and if they're dripping, like make them feel something. Like, oh, I got up this morning, but you've noticed the effort.
Yeah, you find the random conversations to get, around.
They really just want to be treated like real humans, to be fair.
Yeah, I actually wanted to hear what you have to say as a producer, the things you have, and even as a broadcaster.
You guys have covered everything, but
and even as someone who is in events, because you see these things almost every other day.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get you guys have basically covered it, but yeah, they just really want to be treated like a human. They don't want to have any special treatment. Of course, the special treatment they appreciate for sure.
Yeah.
But most of the time, they really just want to, smoke a doobie with you or hear about what the country has to offer from an individual point of view, or move away from the hype of them actually being an artist and actually just recognize them as
a human being.
Yeah, as an actual human being, which I think is what is missed a lot when interviews are happening, because you're focused so much on the art that they're doing, which is key, right? And you're not focusing on who they are individually, because maybe they want to be asked, like, how did you sleep last night? Or what dinner did you have?
By the way, let me tell you, that's a great icebreaker.
Or like, what's your favorite food so far?
Have you slept?
Have you slept? Like, how many hours? Things that will make them feel like, oh shit, you care about me, right? It's not just about my album or me being here and you being the first person to launch my album. It's more like, okay, you actually care about me as an individual, and that's how friendships actually start in the industry as well.
And actually, that friendship bit is very important.
Yes.
Like for me, I've had the privilege of West Africa, down south, what. I don't know whether I told you guys this. When I was in SA last in September, Musa Keys was like, bro, you can't leave without coming to my house for dinner. Bro, like, boom, from Santon go all the way down to Midrand, you chop it up, what. Like, he actually now, because he hadn't been to Kenya in a while, so now we're talking about him and Davido missing the Grammy because they lost it to Tyler, right? So now we're having that whole conversation. So I was like, yo, how's that feeling? And he's like, bro, I was so gassed for it. Like, I could imagine we were right there.
Yeah.
We were about to get it. It was the biggest song. It was a massive one. But at that same time, I felt like it's more of a Davido Grammy, not my Grammy. But still, it now made me feel that I can now make music and get a Grammy. You get?
Yeah.
So you see this kind of relationships.
Yes.
And also, like, if you have the ability, like, say, for instance, you're a presenter in Kenya, go to TZ, go to Uganda, your primary markets, right?
Yeah.
Like, say you're interviewing Diamond, tell him, hey, bros, how's 1245? That's a club that's out there.
Yeah.
The guy's like,
where did you find that out?
You already know about 1245.
Yeah.
So the guy now already starts to open up because he can tell you're familiar with where I'm from.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not familiar.
I've always given you your props with that. You're good at that follow-up. Personally, I'm not the best at it. Like, there's very few artists who I actually maintain contact with after I've interviewed them. But that's one of your, and I said to you, like, end of the day, it's like, I feel that for you and the relationship you have with these artists across the continent, I still feel that there's something bigger that can be done. Like, I feel like you use your connections as much as you need to. So, for example, with your hustlers outside, but give a Nigerian your phone book.
Yeah.
G's been saying this for a while. I actually sent an email to Apple and told them I want to be the host of Africa Now. This is last August. I had a whole presentation. Last year, August, I sent it to SA. When I was in SA, I even asked these guys from Apple, can I swing by? Because they're offices by thingy, by Santon Mall. And the girl was like, shit, unfortunately, I'm in Johannesburg with my family. But let's see, we've been back and forth with all of this. Because I told them, here's the thing, you guys have always done Apple Music, what do you call it? It's always been a host from West Africa, from South Africa. There's never been a person who's East Africa. But also East Africa, we have a common language. We make a lot of music together.
And also,
you get what I mean?
And also having the connection with people from outside the region. Yeah, I think that, but I do think with the BN interview, to go back there, is that like, it's a great look for East Africa. It's a great look for, well, not for East Africa, for Kenya.
Yeah.
Let's be specific.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him because I feel that like he's going in his career in a way that feels so authentic. Like, it doesn't feel like I want to be famous.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm putting the work in.
There's something he said and I couldn't agree more. Like BN, if you want to know who a Kenyan is, or what a Kenyan is, or what a Kenyan looks like, acts like, behaves, BN is it. And I was so happy that he is cognizant of, he is aware of that, you know. And even through his music, like, what is more Kenyan than BN?
Yeah.
What is more Kenyan than BN's music? You know?
Is he the biggest export we've had?
Pretty much. Right now?
It was a conversation on radio yesterday, actually. They were like, is BN the biggest? And someone was like, Sophia
Nzao. Oh, I had Kinalota.
Yeah. But my point was, she's had big songs, big remixes.
Had big songs, but not like
as
that.
big as,
Like, say for instance, right? Sorry to cut you short, right? When you look at Sophia Nzao, she's had big songs.
Yes.
She was lucky. Let me actually use the word lucky to have gotten those gems. When you have a conversation with her husband's the music producer, and they were just, you know, messing around, and you know, everything happened.
And then it's picked up by someone else, like remix.
And it blew up. Yo, BN's been intentional.
Yes.
For so many years, when he's even like, hey, you've got something that's working, and then you guys are like, yo, let's go solo. No, solo does not
that's a big risk.
always equate to success.
Yeah.
And then he's put in the work, right?
Yeah.
And when you see him like, bro, this is not his first rodeo. When he's doing songs with Adekunle, doing songs with Obi, going to Nigeria, going to Ghana, doing all of
I
this.
can't wait for that 2 Chainz collab,
don't actually, I don't know how many guys realize it. You see that song that I like, Kwama?
Yeah.
It's the same producer as Tyler.
Yeah. Management as well.
Yeah.
You know, just not saying, okay, cool, we've had local management. How about we talk to some guys down in SA? You know, you got to knock on this door.
And also, I mean, like, even like Cheeky as his manager.
Yeah.
For anyone who's worked with Cheeky, you don't know that one dots the I's and crosses the T's.
Sure.
I've worked with Cheeky to the point where I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be okay, Cheeky. We don't have to practice it 99 million times.
Is she a perfectionist?
Oh,
She is.
she's a go-getter. And you know, I think what Cheeky's, to give her props, Cheeky's biggest asset as a human is, she takes nothing personally.
Yeah.
So what I learned from Cheeky is this, like, let's just say like we're supposed to do lunch, right? And I'm blowing it out. And I'm like, I'm blowing out the lunch.
Oh, you know, we needed you to be clear on that one, man. Even Ashley was, you know.
And then you like, so suppose you fear making that call to say, by the way, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah.
You'll make the call and Cheeky will be like, okay, love, no worries. Let's do this. We can do it on Wednesday. And you've sat there thinking, oh man, it's gonna take like 10 years for me to make this call, She takes nothing personally, and she's always solution driven.
Oriented,
Mad respect to Cheeky. I wanted to ask you guys before we move on from this, who's been the favorite person you've interviewed on radio?
Say again?
Who's been the favorite artist you've interviewed on radio? Well, okay, minus BBC. Because you're going to start, Jay-Z, 50,
Jay-Z wasn't. 50 was good.
Yeah, no.
No,
Yeah,
but you said favorite. So one of my
with you, minus the BBC.
No, but can I add
and
one?
Pirate Radio.
I need to add one. I need to add one for Pirate Radio. But in Kenya, my favorite interviews in Kenya. Wow. Who did we really like interviewing? I have to ask you because you were there most of the time.
We've had some really good interviews
Like who?
with Calligraph.
Oh, with Kali. Kali was always fun.
Yeah, Kali, and especially looking at Kali,
The progression. We had it so many times,
who I think is such a natural, but he's been doing it for so long. But also, if you're friendly with him, he'll give you so much. You probably have to tell him, yo, we gotta go. Nameless.
Nameless is good.
Yeah.
Octo is always good value.
Octo's
Octo
good
is
value.
always good value. Vanessa, Mde.
Vanessa, yeah.
Vanessa was good fun as well.
Who else? Wow.
From West Africa, Adekunle.
Bro,
Adekunle is good vibe.
Yo, how can we forget about thingy? How can we forget about Yemi? Yemi was like, hey, I'm coming to Kenya. We need to have breakfast.
Actually, I promise you, these niggas could not stop talking about Yemi. Yemi is just down the road. Have you met Yemi?
You know
Yemi is such a nice... Yemi, we love you, man. We love you, man. Yeah.
Yemi is just naturally vibes. Like, Yemi come to my house and you cook for me.
Yemi this, Yemi that.
By the time Yemi was like, hey, I want a Swahili song. And we're like, she's like, could you translate for me the lyrics? Like, on the serviette and stuff. Like,
she's real.
She's dope. Bro, honestly, Andy, I'd have to write you a list. Let me take that.
I like it. No, I like it. No,
because like I have to think.
And that's a good thing.
Like
and that's a
we
good
did
thing.
AKA, bro.
Rest in peace.
You know we did AKA in the fucking bush, Nairobi National Park.
You telling? I was there, bro.
But you're telling me,
bro.
I was there.
AKA,
and you know what's crazy about AKA's story?
And AKA was cool. Like
he was chill.
I thought he was gonna come in as like a superstar vibe.
Light
He was
skin
mad.
The only three guys were there, I think.
Benza was there. I saw Benza in Kigali.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about AKA? The week he was getting shot, right? The week after was when he was supposed to come to Nairobi.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Rest
like
in peace, man.
fucking hell.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I've had fun interviewing guys like Julian Drizzle, but
I've heard that guy.
I know him.
I heard your interview. He's a funny
bro.
Hilarious.
That's a cartoon.
He's a funny
Julian
guy.
is a cartoon. Tayo Moas as well. But Manifest.
Oh, that's a deep one.
When Major Show going out to Anyiko.
Did we do Manifest?
Yeah.
We did Manifest. Yeah.
Bro, Anyiko books in Manifest, and we're trying to find out about the time allocation and all that. So she tells me probably have around, he was coming from, I think, Kiss. So had some loose time because that interview was way early. Mad props to someone who comes early for an interview, you know. And then I even had to start the interview earlier because I was like, damn, I can't let these guys stay or chill in the parking lot for 2 hours or 3 hours and then come through and nah. So I ended up squeezing the interview, from an allocation of 30 minutes, and that was a stretch. Do you know, 15 minutes into the interview, bro, Manifest just started taking off his jacket. He was like, he took out his iPads doing it. It's like, bro, you're my co-host now. You know? Then from what he said, because there's a point Anyiko even stepped out because she was like, these are just boys hanging out at this point. To a point where we even got into an argument on air about the Kendrick and Drake beef. And this is Manifest, bro.
And Manifest is good vibe.
This is Manifest, you know. So coming from him, it was like, bro, I have a video shoot after this, but how this interview is going...
Blinky.
I've done an interview with Blinky.
No, your Blinky... Bro, Blinky is the one musician who can have you have radio silence.
Yeah.
He's blinking. He's like,
soft spoken.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, let's wait.
And
But he drops knowledge.
he drops.
I like Blinky because he's socially awkward and it
Manifest,
works well.
Blinky built together. Yo, bro.
Yeah.
Those are good.
They can go on and on.
Now that you got me thinking about like interviewing, right?
What about interviews?
Big up Manifest, by the way.
What about interviews that you've hated?
Black Bones.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Fucking Black
Do
Bones.
I have one that I don't think I have an interview
Like
that
for me it was a waste
I
of
have
time.
hated.
And I loved his music, but now I'm just like, for real.
Oh damn, Beatty. I also love Beatty. You know, Beatty. Beatty can strike you as, especially when she was, you know, like popping. She can strike you as maybe maringo, because I remember the first time we were to interview Beatty, and I remember G even texting me on air because we were doing the weekend breakfast show back in the day with Nev, and we had planned to get her in, so we played her song before we planned to get her in the next weekend. She was even asking me, yo, who is that? And this was when the Afro swing wave was crazy. You know, the UK wave was hitting us mad, right? And we're trying to book her in for an interview. This was the last weekend breakfast show we were to do before Chuck the Entertainer takes over. Because we're working 7 days a week, you know. So we call in see next week we are set nini. Bro, guess what she tells us? My boyfriend and my manager and my brother are not going to be available, and I do not want to come in just by myself. This is my first radio interview. It's a big deal for me, so I want it to be just right. Me, I'm like,
wow.
Bro, kuja interview, ma. It's, bro, there's gonna be more interviews than that.
But I get it too, though.
I got it, but you know, from off the bat, you're like, this could have been a very simple thing.
But
until I got to interview her for we missed that interview.
Okay.
Chuck is the one who got the opportunity to interview her first and break her out.
Right.
You know, but the first opportunity I got to sit down with Beatty and actually have a conversation. First of all, she came by herself.
Right. Because now she's more
solo dolo.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah, now she's more,
And however soft spoken she is, bro, when it comes to the music and the things that she has done. She was part of the Power 100 project that Mr. Easy was doing, and people even forgot about that. You know, amazing vocals and all that.
You know that you mentioned it, right?
Stellar personality. I love BT.
If there's a guy I love interviewing,
Mr.
on a
Easy.
good day. I've never interviewed Mr. Easy, funny enough. We've met and spoken and anything. Is Savara. No,
don't we love Savara?
Savara is fucking hilarious. Like when he gets into the zone.
footage? Okay.
Savara, like
You promised to release the footage,
The
bro.
last radio interview I had with Savara is with Chanua, the whole album. Then he's like, Calvin, you know I've seen you from far. You're a good guy. And that is why I keep telling you, LBMW. I'm like, huh? He's like, Luya boys must win. So this guy is like, I figured you're Luya as well. He's like, LBMW. I'm like, what does that even mean? But he's top. His energy.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to put our Savara. We don't want to have a paywall.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a paywall just for that interview.
Man.
And that's going to be the only interview behind this.
After Savara calls, say, yo, bro, I'm sorry about yesterday.
Yo, he called me at what time? He called me at 6 o'clock.
Evening, bro.
6:30 in the morning. Nojo Calvo nilikuwa. Vitu zilikuwa mob.
No, I respect it, man. I really respect it.
I
fuck
feel
with
like
it,
the
bro.
Savara interview is part of the Mike's Open folklore.
Oh.
I swear to God.
The interview that never happened.
In the comments, I swear the comments are going to be like, why you guys always talk about the Savara interview? Don't talk about it again unless you're gonna post
Bro,
it.
me the fact that we had to film twice in one day.
Yeah.
That's the one that got to me, bro. That's what got to me.
You know what I like about it?
But Savara's dope,
I
though.
think he and his brother are just characters. Like Hillary today is on Instagram ranting about how all of a sudden he's just posted a chick on his gram, right? And he's covered the
Blowing
face.
up.
And all of these chicks who used to ignore him are now like, so the guy has posted a video of him in the car. He's eating his like,
Hillary is hilarious.
Like, hilarious.
He's just naturally a funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as we move out of this, there's something you said, and I think I'm really with it. I think guys need to see more of what a good interview looks like, what a healthy relationship between an interviewer and an interviewee looks like. Because I remember, besides seeing it with you guys, you know, once you see it, you become jealous. If this is something you're planning to do, if this is a field you're in, when I see you have a good rapport with a big artist, and when the mics are off, it stops being official, and then it carries over onto on air. And me, I don't have that. I don't even know this guy. This guy is treating me as a stranger, and they're gonna treat me the same way if they find me on the other side of this desk. But when I see it with you guys, like how you're laughing, how you're cordial, how you're just easy with one another. And I remember somewhere else I saw that, and it was very infectious to a point where I was like, nah, I really have to cultivate relationships with artists. Was when Wizkid dropped Made in Lagos, and Mani Note did an interview with him,
that was a
break
good
out that interview.
That was a fire
and then you see the back and forth, the exchanges. Nobody has the instrumentals, nobody has the 3 pieces, but they're talking about Ghana last year, how it was lit. And
but I mean that interview with Money, because if you
Big up Mani Note.
Money is not. But Money is a joker.
Yeah.
Money is a joker. Money started when he was at One Extra. Money was doing 2 until 6 in the morning.
Damn.
Whoa.
He can,
Graveyard shift.
yeah. We can.
But money is just, he's
Energy.
just an energy god.
Energy.
Oh,
Yeah.
The
He's
money
a
is
vibe.
good
Like,
vibe.
You know that-
the
you know
vibe I
what?
get
We
from
need to bring him out.
you can't get bored if money
No,
is
you
there.
can't.
You
Yeah.
can't.
That grave night shift. This is the only place you die and pop off, eh?
No, it depends. Because, bro, Mtani used to kick off crazy.
Yeah, but now you see
But
that
we-
2 a.m. all the way to whatever.
But bro, I used to, like, when Money couldn't do his show, or there's another lady called Kinky D couldn't do her show. They were both all overnight. I've done that shift. I used to love that
On one
shift.
extra, money was on BBC.
On one extra, yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, Money
I
was
forgot
on,
about
yeah.
that.
So,
proper one.
'Cause this
that
was on
shift
Capital.
there, one thing I'll tell you about,
There's a ghost or some shit.
Don't say that.
No. Jude is out there. Jude is out there.
Oh my
And your people
god.
are away.
I was like, I'm about to dip.
Are you still filming? Oh no, Jude is out there.
I was like,
So one thing I like about that shift,
Right.
is that it's you and people who want to listen to you.
Yeah. It's a very niche crowd.
So you see the people who are up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have their full attention, bro.
Yeah.
So you can
They're
build,
choosing
and
that.
that's the thing. So people don't understand. Like when I started doing those overnight shifts, 'cause that's how I started.
Yeah.
Fam, the connection you build with your audience at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Mad.
it's mad. And those are the guys who follow you when you get promoted.
Yeah.
And I have a question to both of you guys, and Ashley, you can chip in, if you've got some insight on it. Do you think that these artist managers and maybe the record label representatives who go with them for these press runs should be selective about where they take them for the press run? Because I
100%.
feel like
Waste of time.
yeah. At the moment in Kenya, in Nairobi, an artist comes through and it doesn't matter the radio station or the media
Anywhere
house
and
or
everywhere.
Because that's the thing
everybody is just going to get some time. And I remember, because one thing I do before I sit down with an artist for an interview is I check the interviews that they have done prior, even if it's a day before. And it's usually so sad when, like, I remember seeing, I think it was Manifest doing an interview. And no, it was Kolo. I made just going out to Kolo, manze. Kolo was
Call on Friday.
yeah, Kolo was doing something one weekend, and I remember him on another station talking very passionately about this project that he has done, and he's now getting in, like he's in the zone right now. You don't mess with someone when he's in the zone. Let him cook. Let him talk.
Kolo be in the zone.
And Kolo once
be
he's
in the
locked
zone.
in and his energy, man, he's going, right?
Yeah, true.
And then the
Kolo once
presenter,
held my shirt bun.
I like that energy, manze. Kolo is busy cooking.
mashati.
The presenter is distracted, maybe looking. Me, I'm thinking, I can kind of, understand. He's part listening and part looking, okay, this is how I'm going to take the conversation, blah, blah, blah. This guy interrupts Kolo to ask him, oh, so you have something going down this weekend. Ebu tell me about that. And I'm like,
Ah, come on. Slap these people.
Go on.
yeah, so I feel like as much as it's important for an artist to be out there, to be put out there, it's very important also for the representatives, for the managers to be selective about where
I
they're
think
taking them for these interviews.
Just in the interest of time. You remember
And I'm done.
You
Yeah,
remember
go.
what G said when his conversation with Octopizzo was what you were saying. It's not to get keep, but I feel that in the interest of being intentional, there's people who can have music interviews, there's guys who can do vibes and inshallah, what. But like DJ John used to say, if everything is special,
Nothing is
Nothing
special.
nothing is
That
special.
wasn't John, that was the other guy.
Who?
No, John used to say it, but it came from the other guy. You know the other guy?
Oh, it was the other
the other guy.
Oh, the guy you fired.
I didn't find him.
You get
Clean
what
it
I
up,
mean?
G, clean it
You get
up,
what I
clean
mean?
it up.
But what I'm trying to say,
But if I could have, I would have.
yeah, but what I'm trying to say is this, right?
Well, go on.
Because now this guy is honestly like no shade, and I'm not trying to take anybody's bread,
Yeah.
but please, there has to be effort.
Yeah.
Like you can't be interrupting someone in the zone like that to ask some stupid like that.
Manze.
You gotta show interest. You gotta respect people's art. Why they
Bana.
even came. Like say an artist has flown in all the way from Rwanda. They've paid fare. They've come all the way. What are you saying?
He said, why
1 hour,
not
30
wrap it
minutes.
up?
Wind up.
Wind up.
This has been the Mics Are Open. My name is G Money.
And the young.
Ashley.
Big C.
He's chased us.
Adios, muchachos. Byron wants to go on a podcast run. I heard him say that.
Hey, by the way.
Where are you going?
The next time that somebody can't be on the mics,
Yo, that's me.
Byron is sitting in.
That's me next week.